Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're pulling apart the story of Baked Bodega, a cannabis brand with this really strong New York City identity.
Yeah, it's a fascinating one. We've got this great Nug Notes article detailing their journey.
Exactly. And our mission really is to understand the key things behind their growth. From the founder's roots to where they might be going next. Let's get into it.
Okay, so right off the bat, the founder, Big B Dominican born, grew up uptown Manhattan.
Right.
And the article mentions his early cannabis exposure wasn't just casual. It apparently gave him this specific grit and pride.
That's interesting. How does that kind of upbringing, shape a business approach,
Mm.
especially early on?
Well, it feels really foundational, doesn't it? It's not just backstory.
No, definitely not. And the article really stresses the bodega concept. I think Big B himself says nothing more Spanish, nothing more New York than a bodega.
Such a powerful image, it immediately clicks.
Yeah, it's a cultural touchstone. How much do you think their initial success came from people just getting that reference, that connection?
Oh, I think it's huge. Bodegas are, well, they're community hubs, right? Well, especially in Latino neighborhoods in NYC.
Absolutely.
So calling it Big Bodega, it wasn't just clever marketing. It felt familiar. It tapped into something real.
Like tapping into existing networks almost?
Exactly. The article even says they saw it as movement that suggests, a deliberate plan to build that community feel, not just sell a product.
Okay, so moving on to how he actually got into selling, it wasn't exactly standard.
No, not at all. Apparently, a mentor saw he knew his stuff about cannabis and was like, you should sell this.
Ah, right. And he started with a Girl Scout cookies front, with help from someone called the Queen of Buzz.
Yeah, it sounds very grassroots,
Yeah.
very much operating within existing, maybe informal networks.
What does that tell us about the NYC market back then? Pre-legalization, mostly.
Well, it points to how relationship-driven it was.
Hmm.
Very informal. Using a front like that shows some ingenuity, definitely.
And reliance on who you know.
Totally. And the article notes they reinvested fast, scaled up quickly. That shows some real business sense, even in that early, less formal stage. Risk-taking, too.
Okay, then the West Coast connection comes in, also through this Queen of Buzz figure.
Mm-hmm. Linking them with Your Highness L.A.
And that gave them access to those premium California genetics, stuff like tequila mints. Why was getting those specific strains such a big deal for them in New York?
Well, California's scene was just way more mature then.
Yeah.
Right? The cultivation was established.
Sure.
So premium genetics meant, unique flavors, maybe stronger effects, things people were really looking for. Getting access to those strains, especially if they were kind of exclusive.
Ah, it set them apart. Product differentiation in the NYC market.
Exactly. Let them attract customers who knew their stuff and were maybe willing to pay a bit more for something special.
Makes sense. Then there's this really personal angle, too, the Wallabies strain line.
Yeah, that's quite a story. Named for his late brother, who he called his tequila bee.
And the name itself, Wallabies, is a mix of Arabic and, well, B for brother.
Right, walla, meaning something like an oath or authority. It's deep.
How does weaving in a story like that affect a brand, do you think, in terms of customer connection?
It adds this whole other layer, doesn't it? Authenticity,
Yeah.
emotional connection.
Yeah, it humanizes the whole operation.
Totally. It's not just a transaction anymore. It can build real loyalty, make you stand out. And those specific strain names under Wallabies, like 41 to Body, probably have personal meanings that resonate with their core crowd, too.
Okay, so let's talk about the market dynamics. Baked Bodega really thrived in that messy post-legalization gray zone in NYC.
Yeah, they carved out a space.
But the article mentions things get tougher later. More crackdowns on the unlicensed weed bodegas, tensions with the official license holders.
Right. By 2024, the environment started shifting. Enforcement ramped up.
What let them succeed in that unlicensed space initially, and what are the big challenges now with those crackdowns?
Well, those early community ties and the brand recognition they'd built up must have been key. They already had a following before the legal shops really got going.
They had a head start, in a way.
Kind of, yeah. But the crackdowns obviously create huge risks. Fines, seizures, legal trouble. And Big B's strategy, quoted as spread in the black market first, well, that's high risk, high reward, especially now with licensed competition.
And looking forward, they've got big plans. Miami, Orlando, Texas, California, even the UK.
Yeah, serious expansion goals. They were at that Proper Cup event, too.
And Big B is apparently considering the legal market now, partly, he says, to help keep my brother's name alive forever.
Which ties back to that personal legacy element again.
So what does this potential move towards legality plus the expansion signal about their overall vision?
It suggests they're thinking bigger, longer term, legitimacy, wider reach.
Moving beyond their NYC roots.
Definitely. And looking at the legal market, even after success outside it, probably shows they see the stability and, frankly, the brand building potential there, alongside that powerful personal motivation.
So quite a journey from, uptown NYC roots, leveraging cultural connections, navigating that gray market, and now these global ambitions. It's a really compelling story.
Absolutely. A real case study in brand building in a tricky, evolving industry.
Okay, so a final thought for you, the listener. Baked Bodega really mixed personal history, that deep cultural connection, and some smart strategic moves. Thinking about that blend, what other kinds of businesses or even industries do you think could benefit from weaving together that kind of authentic story and community focus, especially when they're dealing with complex or changing rules? Something to think about. Thanks for diving deep with us.